What was it like in that moment? How did you stay so calm?
I've said this before, that as the police were coming around me, I'm accustomed to having security forces in many of the countries I've worked with in hassling me. So the treatment really wasn't that rough. I was kneed in the posterior. The difference is that it happened on live television, and so that, of course, created a media ripple, not only in the media, but online as well. It made front-page news here in Turkey, and it was picked up around the world. And perhaps that's why the Turkish Prime Minister felt he had to address this, speaking on national television in the Turkish parliament in front of a cheering crowd of parliament members from his parliament. And that's where this went from being an isolated, perhaps, incident, as some of the Prime Minister's aides had assured me in private, to being a much bigger issue, because Prime Minister Erdoğan took this one step further. He didn't just insult me, calling me a CNN bootlicker or idiot. He went further and said that I was caught red-handed and that I was basically acting like a spy. And that is a very serious accusation that has some very dangerous implications and potential consequences here in Turkey, Brian.
It also seems like a page from an old playbook, which is to blame the press for your own internal political issues. Am I right about that?
Yes, and we've seen this in many countries around the world. It happens in the U.S. sometimes, where the press is blamed for the message. The difference here is these allegations were patently absurd, almost laughable, except that they were being made by the most powerful man in the country. And against a journalist, I've been accredited with a yellow press badge from the Prime Minister's office for 12 years in Turkey. First as a journalist for National Public Radio, then as a correspondent for the last 5 years for CNN. The Prime Minister and his entourage know me personally. I interviewed him. I was invited with a television crew on his private jet in 2009 to accompany him on a campaign tour, one-on-one interviews on his campaign bus. The same going in 2010, again invited on his campaign bus for exclusive one-on-one interviews. So if I am in fact a spy, as the Prime Minister alleged falsely in the Turkish parliament, then that would suggest a major security breach by the Turkish security forces, since I've also been in one-on-one interviews on camera with the President of Turkey, as well as the Foreign Ministry of Turkey, during my 5 years as a resident correspondent for CNN here in Turkey.